Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Lost in Translation. It's not just a movie by Bill Murray in 2003, but it's a real world problem when you're dealing with multiple people working on a loan, and each step there is either documents or information that is lost in translation from each step. What happens is the lenders invariably have to reach back out to the buyers and they're asking them for more. Oh, I thought I gave you this. I mean, anybody who's done a loan knows how this goes. And I'm going to go into why that is true, what the reasons behind it are, how it's been frustrating in my previous life, and how we found a solution for it. So the reason that most lending companies do this is they want people who they don't have to pay a very high hourly amount to do the bulk of the work. So this improves their revenue per loan. But to do this, you have to delegate all these different parts, and then you train a person to, let's say, just order insurance or just call on appraisals and just order income verifications. So the idea behind it is this person is highly specialized, and you don't have to pay them very much because you only train them to do one skill, and then you have all these compartmentalization. That's why it's set up. It's a cost-cutting measure. This did work 10 plus years ago. Since then, lending has gotten too complex, and this system has fallen apart under its own weight. Anybody who's done a loan in the last 10 or 15 years can understand this frustration. Even if you're a first-time homebuyer, you can imagine if there's 8 different people working on a loan, all of the steps and whether these people are talking, whether the person understands it, and then how it's consolidated. And there's this continual repeat of processes. So in my previous life, I got so frustrated with this with a lender that I actually broke down a spreadsheet to 165 data points in the loan. And then I mapped out all the different connections, who it went to with an interactive drop down, text, call, email, software, spoken, all of these things, because there was a continual repeat of these processes. Everybody was called, 2 or 3 people calling the customer for the same documents. Do you have this? It caused not only a waste of time, but the people got scared. They were like, is my loan ever going to close? Can these clowns close my loan? They've asked me for that. I've given that to you 3 times. And as a 23-year veteran of this process, I can tell you that once a customer gets scared, it's not a good situation. People are on edge. They're emotional. I know I was emotional when I bought my first home, and I do this for a living. So I can imagine what the first person thinks about. So I broke this down and I presented this to management because there was such a problem with this. And they looked at me with a 1,000-yard stare and said, "Oh, you're really techie." I thought, are you out of your mind? This isn't techie. This is file flow efficiency. This is not having redundant process. This is giving confidence to a customer. This is just doing it the right way. This fell on deaf ears. So that's why I have my own company. So we have a solution for that myriad of problems. It just by design will fail. Is one person, one loan. So one of the questions that most people don't know to ask because it's hidden by the lenders is, who's working on my loan in the middle when it really counts? Who's compiling this information? Who's quantifying? Who can I call and get an answer on the first call? Not the 10th call, not the 5th text, and not I don't want to hear, let me check with so-and-so. How about just one call, one answer? Well, when you have multiple people on there, not only is information lost, but there's so many hands in the cookie jar, it becomes a disaster. And lending's too complex these days. So we don't do that. We assign one person to a loan, and that person is the only person you talk to that collects and compiles that data and runs that loan from A to Z. So why don't other companies do that? Well, like I said, it's more expensive, but the quality goes up. I mean, the best way to describe this in manufacturing terms, this would be like manufacturing in America, Japan, or Germany versus China. China might be cheaper, but you won't get the tolerances. Anybody who knows manufacturing knows that you get higher quality from some of these companies, but it's more expensive. The irony is, because we're more efficient, I actually charge a lower price. So you get a higher quality and a lower price, usually unheard of, because we break the loans down to revenue per hour, not revenue per loan. If I spend less time on the loan because I'm efficient, I can charge a lower margin and get more loans. So the efficiency feeds itself. It's a win-win for everybody. And the proof is in the pudding. You look at my reviews, look at how people respond to our processes. I can give you 5 names right off the top of my head. You can call any one of them and they'll tell you hands down that this process is the most efficient. There's nothing lost in translation when you have one person. And you know you're getting taken care of because you get answers from a person who knows what they're talking about, not a person who just learned how to shuffle a few papers and learned a skill that's getting paid a little bit above minimum wage. It's great that they're doing that, but it's not the best when you're talking about a home purchase. You're talking about, I mean, 2, 3, 4, 500,000, $1 million. You need somebody who has a lot of experience to handle that. It's too important to delegate to an entry level position. Unfortunately, that's what happens. So hopefully that explains lost in translation, one person, one loan process, how we've solved that, and how our customers appreciate that process in the long run. Thanks and have a good day.